It is great to be in Arizona. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, please, thank you all. It is so fantastic to be in Arizona. I.O. Thank you to Charlie Kirk. Isn't Charlie Kirk great? He's done so much for this state of this country. Well, in 96 days, my friends, we're going to take back our country and elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And it's going to start right here in the great state of Arizona, right? Now, we have to remember, just over a month ago, President Trump wiped the floor with Joe Biden on the debate stage, exposing a massive cover-up of the president's mental incapacity, and he saved America from 4 more years of the disaster that is Joe Biden. Now, during that same time, remember this is just a month ago, President Trump accepted our party's nomination with overwhelming support. He held the most successful convention in history. He even took a bullet for the country he loves, but he didn't miss a single day of work. Now, President Trump did all of that in 1 month. Just imagine what he can do with 4 more years. Now, the media, of course, is going to do everything they can to stop that from happening. We have some of our illustrious media back there. It's okay. Some of them are okay, like 1 or 2. Now, this morning, President Trump attended the National Association of Black Journalists Conference in Chicago. Did you see all? Seemed like it was a lot of fun. But he did that because he's running to be president for all Americans. Now, he's already got record support from black voters, Hispanic voters, union workers, and many other Americans who have been lied to and betrayed by Kamala Harris and the fake news media. And this morning, unlike Kamala Harris, President Trump showed up and took some tough questions. The press treated him the same way they have since he came down that escalator in 2015. They were rude. They cut him off. And they didn't want to hear, much less report, the truth of what he said. So you guys want to hear that truth about Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris is a phony who caters to whatever audience is in front of her. I don't know if you saw this, but earlier this week, look up the clip. She went down to Georgia and started talking with a fake Southern accent. I'm serious. Now, what the hell was that all about? Kamala Harris grew up in Canada. They don't talk like that in Vancouver or Quebec or wherever she came from. Doesn't matter. It's the same new liberal policies, but a different accent, whoever she's talking to. Now, on November 5th, she can go back to using her San Francisco accent because we are going to send her packing and we're going to elect Donald Trump, President of the United States. Now, it's funny what Kamala Harris does, but what she has done to this country is not a laughing matter. Just today, I heard that the Biden-Harris Department of Justice cut a deal with al-Qaeda terrorist Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to avoid the death penalty. It was reported today. Now, as someone who enlisted in the Marines to serve after 9/11, that is ridiculous, but it's not surprising. Now, just think about the point that we've gotten to. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have weaponized the Department of Justice to go after their political opponents, but they're cutting a sweetheart deal with 9/11 terrorists. We need a president who kills terrorists, not negotiates with them. Now, the weakness of this administration, of Kamala Harris's administration, has been a disaster for our country all over the world. Now, there are so many examples we could talk about, but recent news comes out of Venezuela that they cut a deal with a dictator in Venezuela, and they offered in exchange that that dictator would have free and fair elections. And shocker, the Kamala Harris administration doesn't know anything about free and fair elections. So they're coddling dictators all over the world. We need to bring back American strength, and that means bringing back Donald J. Trump as President of the United States. Now, after covering up for Joe Biden's incompetence for 3.5 years, this is a scandal from both the Democrats and the media. Now they're gaslighting us about Kamala Harris's radical record. The media likes to portray her all of a sudden. She's a sensible moderate. That's what they say. Now, the same media that told us for 3.5 years Joe Biden, who couldn't finish a sentence, was Albert Einstein, now they tell us Kamala Harris is Abraham Lincoln. But anyone who is too blind to see Biden's incompetence, or more likely, too dishonest to admit it, is not fit to serve as our commander-in-chief. And the Democrat Party bosses, they've decided to install Kamala Harris as their new nominee. But think about this. She has not received a single vote for President of the United States. Now, the media calls this a coronation. I think we'd call it a coup. And in America, we don't crown our leaders. We vote for them. Now, I'm going to the border tomorrow, and her record of disaster is clear. 500,000 kids have been trafficked by the Mexican drug cartels because of her policies. Hundreds of thousands of our citizens are dead from fentanyl overdoses because of her policies. Hardworking Americans cannot afford groceries because of her policies. Now, the media wants to call her a moderate, but here's a fact check for the fake news. Kamala Harris was the most liberal senator in the entire United States Senate. She is a dangerous San Francisco liberal, and thanks to the people in this room, she is never going to be the President of the United States of America. Let us count the ways in which Kamala Harris has screwed up this country over the last 3.5 years. Now, they'll all lie to you about it, the media, but she was appointed the border czar and then unleashed the worst border crisis in the history of this country. On her watch, more than 10 million illegal aliens have invaded our country. And it wasn't by accident, it was by design. They said when they took office that they were going to do exactly what they did. They said they wanted to decriminalize illegal immigration and tear down immigrations and customs enforcement, open up the floodgates and give illegal aliens free health care, and she wanted you, the American citizens, to pay the bill. That's what she said, and then on her very first office, they went to work, but not for you, for them. They suspended deportations. They stopped building President Trump's wall. They reinstated catch and release, and that's how every state became a border state, because they just released these people into our country. Then they fly them first class, give them first-class hotel accommodations. You guys are paying for that, too. Then they proposed amnesty for illegal aliens. They might as well have sent hand-drawn invitations to millions of illegal immigrants all over the world, including, by the way, violent criminals and terrorists. The media lies to you about that, but don't let them. Now, the chief there we go. We let one crazy person in out of a crowd of 1,000. That's not too bad, right? Now, what our friend out there doesn't want you to hear, but I'm going to say anyway, is that the chief of Border Patrol was appointed over a year ago. Our own border czar, Kamala Harris, hasn't spoken a single word to him. How does that make sense? Now, I served in the United States Marine Corps, ladies and gentlemen. My brothers and I, you know what we have? You know what we call that? We call that a dereliction of duty. And now she has the nerve to question the loyalty of me and Donald Trump. Did you see that? Well, here's a message to Kamala Harris. Here's what Donald Trump and I believe about loyalty to this country. Loyalty to this country is closing the border, not opening it up. Loyalty is safeguarding Medicare for American citizens, not bankrupting it by giving it to illegal aliens. Loyalty is protecting Laken Riley, not inviting the illegal immigrant who killed her and took her life. Loyalty is protecting our children from fentanyl, not inviting the drug cartels to deal it in our playgrounds. Loyalty is serving in the United States Marine Corps, something I am proud of. Loyalty is taking a bullet for this country, something Donald J. Trump did. If Kamala Harris wants to see the face of disloyalty, she can look in the damn mirror. This is a great crowd. Well, Kamala Harris, let's keep on going, handed out 3 million work permits to illegal aliens who lied and claimed asylum in this country. That turns a blind eye to fraudsters who are destroying American jobs, union and non-union alike, and undercutting the wages of American workers. And I guarantee you, if the failed border czar becomes the president of the United States, she is going to give every single illegal immigrant the right to vote, going to destroy your nation and your say in your own country. And I've got a different message, my friends. If you are in this country, start packing your bags, because Donald Trump is coming back and he's going to send you home. My friends, it is time to put the interests of the citizens first. The interests of American citizens should be the priority of our leadership. That used to be common sense. We may have disagreed with the Democrats 20 years ago, but they at least agreed that we're supposed to put the interests of our citizens first. Now, we are grateful to have some great Republican leadership in the state of Arizona and all across our country who are committed to this basic principle that our leaders should care about our own citizens. So I'm going to give a shout out to a few of them. Arizona Republican Chairwoman Gina Swoboda. Where's Gina? There's Gina. We got Glendale Mayor Jerry Weirs. Where's Jerry? Jerry. We have got some great congressmen in the state of Arizona. We've got Eli Crane. Where's Eli? Andy Biggs. I saw Andy earlier. Where's Andy? Where's Paul Gosar? Love Paul Gosar. We've got a great congresswoman in this district, I believe, Debbie Lesko. There's Debbie. She's not from Arizona, but she is a superstar. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. We heard from her earlier. There she is. We've got Arizona State Senate President Warren Peterson. There's Warren. Warren. We've got State Senator Janae Shamp. Where's Janae? Janae. Now, I met Janae earlier, and she said, I said, Janae, call me JD. And she said, I'm not going to do that. I said, okay, Janae, in a few months you can call me Mr. Vice President. How's that sound? Is that all right? Now, before I call up our next guest, I want to just point out what an incredible blessing it is to have a future United States Senator who actually cares about this country and is dedicating to putting its interests first. Now, the reason we know she's awesome is because the fake news lies about her as much as anybody else in this country. She just won her primary, though it wasn't in doubt. Kari Lake, can you please come on up here?
Oh, my goodness. Thank you for that introduction. I love you, too. Guys, I'm so excited. I've got goosebumps because I realize what's about to happen in our country. We're about to get America back. And this mama bear is ready to get America back. I don't know about you guys. I got to tell you a quick story about Senator Vance. When I was thinking about running, I decided I wanted to go and talk to some people who were in the Senate. And did you know you were the first senator I talked to? Remember that day in your office? He invited me into his office, and he said, Kari, you're going to hate the swamp. But because I know you're going to hate the swamp, we need you in the swamp. We need people who don't love Washington, D.C. to go to Washington, D.C. I'm not going there to make a whole bunch of I don't want to make any lobbyist friends. I got enough friends in Arizona. And I want to go there and be a senator much like Senator Vance has been. Somebody who votes for America First policy, even if he's getting the stink eye from some of the swampier people in the swamp. Right? We don't want someone in Washington, D.C. who's going to get there and cave to the lobbyist and the D.C. swamp. We got to have fighters in D.C. I love J.D. Vance because he's in this because he loves his family. He knows the future of this country. We're at a crossroads right now. We either save this country, or as one of our favorite presidents, Ronald Reagan, said, we plunge into 1,000 years of darkness. This man's not going to let us plunge into 1,000 years of darkness. I told all of you when I spoke earlier, we have 3.5 months to fight what 3.5 years of Biden and Kamala have done to this country. And I think you can see the enthusiasm. I think we're going to win this one, don't you? Yeah. Let's do everything in our power to get President Trump and J.D. Vance as President and Vice President and Kari Lake as U.S. Senator. Let's go, Arizona! Let's go, Arizona! Trump, Vance, 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 Trump.
Wow. You guys are so lucky to get to vote for Kari Lake to be your next United States Senator. Wow. Just amazing. God bless you, ma'am. We do have some Ohio representation in this room, right? Now, here's one of the reasons I love Kari Lake. You heard her talk about the lobbyists in the swamp. For decades, politicians in Washington have sold out our country. When multinational corporations called their offices with those lobbyists, Kari, they traded American jobs for campaign cash. Now, they'd never admit this, of course. They wouldn't put it like that. They'd brag about trade deals and promise cheap products. They called it globalization, and that's what it was. American jobs went to some other part of the globe instead of staying here for our own citizens. And if it's up to Kamala Harris, it's going to keep on happening. She voted to preserve NAFTA, the very trade deal that sent American jobs to Mexico and turned American dreams into nightmares. And now she wants a promotion. Well, I think it's time to tell Kamala Harris, you're fired. I want the American dream as a goal for our children, and you never hear politicians talk about the American dream anymore. 4 years ago, you did. And 4 years from now, we're going to make more and more of those American dreams a reality. We are going to bring it back, bring the American dream back, build upon it, and fight for it. So let's talk a little bit about what we believe in this room and what we believe on this ticket. We believe that 1 million cheap plastic toys from China isn't worth a single American manufacturing job. We believe that we're going to rebuild American factories, rebuild the American dream, and stamp more and more products with Made in the USA. Now, I've seen the consequences of electing failed politicians like Kamala Harris. I've seen it in my own hometown. Because more often than not, it's the ones the Bible calls the least of these who suffer the most under Kamala Harris's policies. Now, some of you know a little bit about my background and my biography, but I grew up in a town that was really struggling thanks to the failed politicians in Washington. And I was able to achieve my dreams. I was able to go to school and join the Marine Corps and build a beautiful family. I've got a beautiful wife and 3 beautiful kids, and that was my American dream. It was always to be a good husband and a good dad. Thank you. Now, people ask, why did it work out for you? And a little bit of it's luck. A little bit of it is that we live in the greatest country in the world where big dreams are still possible, whatever side of the tracks you grew up on. But a little of it, if I'm being honest, is because I had a tough old bird, my grandmother, I called her Mamaw, who stood by me every step of the way. Now, I remember there's so many stories I could tell about Mamaw, but one of my favorites is when I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. Mamaw was very proud of me, but it was 2003, a time of war. She was not exactly excited about her youngest grandchild going to serve in the Marines. So when the recruiter came over to tell her what boot camp was going to be like, he started to walk up the steps to her porch, and she said, "If you step one more foot on my porch, I'm going to blow it off." And she had 19 handguns at home. That was not an idle threat. So I had a strong woman who made me who I am and gave me the opportunities that I've had. And I know there are a lot of strong grandmas and a lot of strong moms out there. Now, I want to talk about another strong woman, a woman we heard from at the RNC convention. Sarah Workman inspired all of us at the RNC with a story of faith and resilience. So we remember Sarah's story? Y'all watch that? It was amazing. She's a proud Arizonan and a great supporter of President Trump. And Sarah, if you would, I hope I'm not embarrassing you, I'd love if you come and said a few words. Let's give Sarah a round of applause.
Oh, boy. Thank you, JD. Oh, wow. God is a trip, and that is my LA lingo for you. Okay. I've been very inspired by JD's story because it's one, I haven't personally had parents struggle with it, but my ex-husband has for almost 9 years now. And I have an 11-year-old son named Elliot, and so we've walked a really long, dark road dealing with his addiction and, you know, our divorce and all of that. But God is faithful, and I'm so thankful that we have Donald Trump and JD as examples for us, as people to represent us against, again, how I said earlier, that this is a battle of good and evil. And I'm so grateful. Again, JD is the American dream. His story is the American dream. It gives me hope to keep moving forward and be encouraged. I hope all of us are encouraged because Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are going to make America great again. So give it up for J.D.
Wow. So I had to follow Terry Lake, and now I've got to follow Sarah. That is a tough act, isn't it? But look, what an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And I want to talk a little bit about just the American dream, because it is under threat in our country. And when I talk about going from a poor family in Ohio to standing up here before all of you, what a great example of what this country makes possible, that I'm here asking to be your next Vice President of the United States, isn't it? I mean, isn't that such a cool thing? But I hate to say this, because Kamala Harris is such a disaster that the dreams we have for our country and for our families, they are on the ballot in November. And this is why we have got to reelect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. We've got to do everything that we can to get President Trump over that finish line. The contrast could not be more clear. Kamala Harris's vision is for closed factories and open borders. It's a government so big it can tell you what to do, but bank accounts that are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, Donald Trump delivered. Not just talked about it. This isn't just his vision. It's what he actually did. He delivered rising wages and a strong border. What an amazing track record to run on. Kamala Harris wants to ban fracking and buy energy from every dictator around the world. Donald Trump wants to drill, baby, drill. Get American energy from American workers and American land. Kamala Harris wants to raise your taxes and make it easier to ship jobs to China and to Mexico. Donald Trump wants to lower the taxes for hardworking Americans and reward the companies that hire American and build American. Kamala Harris wants to defund the police and the violent criminals who make our streets less safe. Donald Trump, he's going to lock up the bad guys and back the blue, which is what all of us in this room believe. Now, I want to speak to all of you in the audience and anybody watching who's struggling today. If you're scraping by instead of thriving, I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to choose between paying off the credit card debt or buying groceries. I know what it's like to watch families fall apart under financial stress. And I know what it's like to worry that a parent will never kick that habit, that fear that the habit they have, whether it's drugs or alcohol, is going to eventually claim their life. But I also know that our national motto is "In God we trust," and God tells us to hope and not despair. And while the media loves to lie about this movement and this party, this movement of ours is about a very simple idea, that we love this country enough to fight for a better future for our kids and our grandkids. That's it. It's simple. And we all know in this room that the best way to give our people hope for the future, the best way to preserve that American dream, the best way to give our kids that better life is to re-elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And Kamala Harris, she offers to lead us to a place of despair. So let me ask you, do we want open borders in this country? Do we want to bankrupt Medicare by giving it to illegal aliens? Do we want to defund the police? Do we want to ban fracking? Do we want a dangerous San Francisco liberal like Kamala Harris? Instead, in just a few months, Arizona is going to lead a great American restoration, a restoration of American safety, of American prosperity, and American hope. We're going to secure our border and stop the endless flow of drugs and crime into our communities. We're going to bring down the cost of food and housing so that young Americans can afford to start a family and put that family in a beautiful home. We're going to end the radical environmentalist nonsense and restore American energy dominance. We're going to turn this country into a manufacturing superpower once again. We're going to cut taxes for working families, including on tips for our servers and on Social Security for our seniors. We're going to secure peace through strength and make sure our allies do their part. We will, in short, make America great again. It's going to start in Arizona and spread like wildfire all across our country. Let's go elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. God bless you all, and thank you so much. I love you, Arizona. Thank you for having me.